Nope. It's something about with the school tonight. Well, call the meeting to order. Roll call?
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yep.
Cleveland.
Yep.
Reese.
Yes.
Huss.
Here.
Stankin.
Here.
Yep, and Counselor.
No public
Waltman.
forum. Consent agenda. Dave's gone.
Yep, Dave is gone.
Everybody's okay with the agenda, consent?
Yep, the building permits, of course, there, and the fence permit, that's approved, and those 2 new bills to add to the bill list.
Okay, do we have a motion on consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Stankin.
Yes.
Huss.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Looks like we're moving to the resolution 1429.
You didn't hear anything from Mr. Stork? Yeah. Nope, me neither, I didn't hear anything from him.
1429 is selling the city-owned property on 218 South on Blossom.
This would just be the formal resolution to sell the property, and then Aaron would prepare a quitclaim deed and whatever else is necessary, and it's done.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Huss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, 1430 is the
It's
finance
done.
report. Yeah. Got all dressed up for a little bit, didn't you?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. The city street financial report?
Yeah, this is one of those reports that the council has to approve, actually approved by resolution. Let's take a quick look on page 11. And just what is, this is a financial report for anything dealing with expenditures related to streets. And it's actually a very uneventful report because we did not do a street project during the last fiscal year. So the thing that's really of note is on the right-hand side at the bottom, second line up, is the ending balance. And of that, even that $8,600, that's in debt service. So, you know, really we got about $47,000 that's devoted to streets and street construction. So we got to keep adding to that savings account before we do anything, or we'll talk about a big project later on.
Do we have a motion on resolution 1430?
I'll make it.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Huss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Okay, 1431 is the city week.
City Week. Just this, the concept of City Week is something that the League of Cities is promoting this year, and that's that first full week of October. They would propose that cities have special events, kind of highlight everything that the city does. It's more of a citizen education type of a campaign, and again, highlighting things that it does, or really highlighting some of the good projects that have been completed by the city, this type of stuff. So I was wondering if Lakeview would like to participate in that, and I think there's some opportunities there. Right about that time of year is when we always do that Progress is Promise celebration. So I'm wondering if we could kind of work the two of that together somehow. You know, would the city be interested in doing a community barbecue, you know, or something like that? Bring
When
people
does
out.
SAC do theirs?
I'm not sure.
Well, I think we should find that out, don't you?
Because we're just going to invite the taxpayers of Lakeview to come and,
Right.
we thought about having Pork Burgers have the Progress is Problem, bring up some city
But
equipment
there's
to
a lot
let
of
people can see
Lakeview
that.
people up there always, when we go to that. Joy works up there, and
Oh.
we usually go to them, but there's a lot of Lakeview people.
What are they doing up there?
Barbecue.
And a free meal.
Pork
Free meal?
October Fest, yeah.
Oh, that's over. Well, we got to pick it, because you're going to be gone for a little bit. We got to
Yeah,
pick
if
the
we
right
were to
day.
look at the 10th, I'd be gone that day. Not that you can't do it that day, but I'll be gone.
We done that barbecue one time before out here, and that worked real well.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, and you tied it in with the Progress.
Right.
What day is October 6th, Tom? It'd be on a Monday, huh?
Yeah,
Six.
yeah, I would suggest we do something on a Saturday.
Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get,
Well, this isn't usually on, it's during the week sometime, Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, is it?
It's never on a week,
oh,
Okay.
a weekend.
No, they always do it on their town night or whatever, it used to be Thursday night, so
Okay.
if I remember right, I think.
Well, I just don't wanna run, I hate that when the county runs into the same thing. It's just-
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have enough people in in our county for that, you know.
But I think this would be a good chance for people to come and see it.
Most of them went to Thursday,
Yeah.
because church night is Wednesday and then game night is Friday.
Right.
I was thinking Tuesday.
Because, what else do we say? Yeah, like,
That's
Bring
egg
police
and
cars,
that's
fire
egg and
trucks.
daughter night.
Yes.
uptown, our electric trucks. It'll be our 100th anniversary of our electric utility. And we'd like to do something acknowledging that too. You know, it's just a little public acknowledgement, nothing really special, but they could certainly bring up their basket truck and digger derrick. People would like to see that. Kids would love to see that.
Give rights.
No,
No,
no. But like if we had some city equipment, people come up and ask, what'd you buy? At least they can see it. You know,
bring the harvester up or,
Well-
no, we didn't buy that.
we didn't buy that. But I mean, there's,
We could actually probably bring that up.
yeah, we probably could. But it'd be a chance
Gotta
for
be tore
everybody to see
apart by
what we
then.
bought. They could ask people what we got it for, what it does, like the router. You know, people read it in the paper, but I think if they can see it, and if you give them a free burger, they'll show up. So,
You
I'll
go
let you
in the
show
food
up.
truck too and stand there and talk
I'll
to
eat
them.
barbecue.
Yeah,
There you go.
we should have a baseball thing, you throw it at a target and then I drop in the water. People can come for that one day.
In October, that'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so.
Cold in October.
Just,
Good day.
if we do this thing and tie it in with Progress as Promised, we did something last year, I think it was Progress as Promised, where we did the chili thing, all right? So we'd want to work with the community club and see what they would like to do. Like, I don't know if the chili thing works very well with Christmas, but it'd be good, we could do it with the Christmas event.
Would this be, it's kind of an informational meeting is what you're talking about, isn't it,
Right.
right?
Well, I'm talking about that we would do our Progress as Promised meeting, very similar to what we've done in the past. Community awards, that type of stuff. You know, we want to highlight projects from the past year, new businesses, any of the positive stuff that's happened.
You know, like Pier 25 and the Black Lake Association could be up there and try to hand out any information that's.
Yeah. You know, another thing I was just wondering, is that a place where we talk about future plans for the sewer plant?
Sure.
Something, you know, just
Yep, no doubt.
start planting that seed because that's gonna be,
See if scare them.
that's gonna, yeah, it's gonna be a big
Big deal.
deal. It's gonna cost some bucks, so.
They might move out before that.
Yeah, yeah, they might, but they all want it to work, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
So what's everybody want to do? Think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to work with the mayor on this and consult with the community club. They meet next Monday. And Progress as Promised thing's really, you know, it's their event, so I'd like to be able to
You're
work with
talking
them.
about a weekend or a weekday?
Yes.
Yeah, probably Saturday.
Saturday.
Saturday only.
Saturday works well.
Yeah.
During, at like, evening or noon?
Noon.
Noon.
I'm thinking noon meal.
Noon's always worked before.
Yep.
Well, we'll be done with the community club by October 1st.
good.
I think, the way it sounds. That's the state now.
Farmer's market will be done then.
That's what I mean, farmers market.
Because I think what we'd probably look at would be, Saturday would be the 18th as a tentative date. And you could, again, you could do things on the 11th if you want, but I won't be around.
We'll
18.
wait till the 18th.
You wouldn't wanna go much later than that.
It'll be getting cold. But Gus will be south.
No, not yet.
We got the TV out there.
The TV,
Yeah, drag it out
Gus,
there.
we'll have the TV standing over the grill.
Yeah, there you go. Smoke going through his hair.
But we'll put something together and start writing stuff down so everybody has a clue what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Can we consider this resolution to endorse this City Week concept?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
All right, second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Thank you.
Yes.
Huss?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Cleveland?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 468. We still want to do some tweaking on that?
Yeah, and I would love to meet with you, Mayor, if you have
Yes.
a chance. Scottsville
Yep.
also.
So I just want to run through this and kind of show you where we are so far, really with the notion that I think it needs some extra work. But really looking for some feedback from the council too about one question. And the question would be, what do you want to happen to the Raritan salvage yard now? Is it allowed to continue to exist under our new ordinances? Or is this something that we would, essentially create this ordinance and they can't meet the letter of the law anymore, they really can't, and you would like to see it go away? I guess I'm interested in your feedback on that. That's kind of governs how the ordinance would be implemented.
Do you ever foresee them terminating it themselves? I don't.
No, it'll
They're
have to
gonna
be,
be forced into it.
because they don't have a recycler's
No.
license anymore.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
the family situation the way it is, they're never gonna give it up.
no, I think, Lon?
I talked to two of the family members this weekend, and it sounds to me like they are gonna sell.
Really?
They're just gonna bring somebody in
That's
and,
what needs to be done.
and scrap it.
Right.
That they said they were waiting till this fall because the trees are so thick in there, you can't get in to see. That's what they told me.
And they're right.
But Bonnie's in charge, they said, so things can change. But it sounded to me like that's what was gonna happen.
Well, I think if any, say if that would happen though, to me, there's some way, this animal deal in there, I would say somebody's gotta go in there and either, feed these something that they can't walk out of there or something, because, hell, the whole town will be full of that crap.
They're gonna scatter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be in your backyard.
Even if there's a fire, they'll scatter, so you better get,
I mean,
Let
Ted
the
could
dogs
sit down
out.
there all day with a machine gun, I guess, with a circle. But I think that, I think that'd be the biggest mess is that.
Yeah,
Them,
I think
like
it's a concern.
groundhogs and skunks and whatever.
Raccoons,
Raccoons,
possums,
possums.
I think that's a real issue when they do go in there.
Destroy some happy homes.
That's
Those
been
can
established
be-
for a while.
possums and raccoons are mean. Or
Oh, they
raccoons.
can be, yeah, you corner them there.
So,
No, I have a question before we go any further. If you look at the definition of, just junk yards versus vehicle recyclers, a junkyard can, stay as long as there's a fence. That's what this says. So do you want a junkyard if they sell in our town?
No,
Right.
we don't want anything.
Oh.
We don't want anything, we want to get rid of what we got. I think that's the general.
I don't think it's drawing any business or
No.
making anybody any money. You're right now.
Just a little bit about the way this ordinance is drafted. That when we had talked last time, you wanted an ordinance that was consistent with the state law. So that's why this thing is written the way it is. It basically recites a lot of the state code sections. Okay? But it says that, so here's a junkyard. Junkyards are prohibited unless they meet these such definitions. And one of those being that it has to be properly zoned, which is not properly zoned anymore. And the other thing talks about the fencing. And the 10-foot high chain link fence, the bottom paragraph on that page, that's actually our current code on what's required for a fence. Okay?
So
Top.
because of the zoning, we can keep them out.
Well, that's the legal issue for you, Aaron.
Isn't
Yeah.
that what you're, saying? To the
I'm
council?
saying it's not zoned properly, and we would
Mhm.
need an opinion about whether
So the
you could
fence is-
zone that out in that regard, something that's pre-existing.
you need to clear up the gray areas.
Well, if they sell it,
Yeah, I wouldn't cause any waves if they're thinking about cleaning it out. Once you start causing waves, they're gonna turn around and go the other way.
So is the fences in the ground 2 foot?
I'm not sure.
Because
It's-
I
it's in
can't
the
believe,
ground.
Lon helped put it up.
Yeah, it's in the ground. We dug the ditch for it.
I mean,
It's
so the
very,
animals, they really can't, can they dig into it or what?
or Well, there's woodchucks all over that.
That's what I mean.
There's a lot of gaps in it.
Woodchucks and rats.
One less by the
There's
dump, I went over
foxes
it.
underneath
Did
there
you
all the
now?
time.
All throw hardly a dog.
Well, we've stirred up other stuff, Gus. We've stirred it up before, but that's the only way we got them to clean it up.
Well, yeah, but if they're talking about doing it now,
Well, I'm all for talk, but
Buried in the ground,
when the
but,
talking's
you
done,
know,
something's gonna have to happen, either.
That
Yeah.
ain't gonna stop the critters, I don't think.
Yeah. we-
this Bonnie, is she the youngest one?
No.
Is she the executive?
Mindy, Bonnie.
Cindy, Mindy.
I know
Cindy.
Cindy, Mindy,
I think Bonnie's the
I
oldest.
looked it up and gave it
No,
to Scott.
Cindy was the oldest.
Did I get that?
Bonnie.
right?
Cindy, Mindy,
Bradlaugh
Brenda.
is who I talked to, so whoever Bradlaugh's married to.
That's Brenda.
Brenda, no,
That's
No,
Mindy.
that's Brenda's dead.
yeah, she,
Oh, that's right, yeah,
Yeah, Brenda
that's
died.
Mindy.
Mindy?
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's who I talked to, and that was just 2 days ago, because I was down at the shop, and they were down there, and they told me that, so. They said, it'll be sold, but we have to all get along first, that's what he said. So that's what she said, you know, so.
Well, we've been to court twice
We
before.
looked at
Well,
the
so much for
estate,
that
nothing's
idea.
happened.
No, we've been to court twice with them and won both times, Gus, so I don't,
Well, I can talk to her, I've done work for her and that, and we've gotten along.
but I'm willing to leave them alone if they give us this is gonna be gone by this date. I have no problem with that.
It's a lot easier to work with the estate than with all the air. So
Yeah,
the estate's still open, but nothing has happened.
Well, I think you're gonna kinda have to put a deadline on it, no matter what.
Yep.
I mean, if you wanna get it done, cause this has been how many years you've been working on it, trying to get this done?
But we got them to put everything inside the fence years ago.
Yeah, I know, but,
They didn't like that either.
That was one of the first things we did when I got on the
Yeah.
council.
so that's been 4,
But they
5.
don't have a recycler's license anymore, so they're not even, if they were open and running as a business, I'd be all for them.
It's not a
But
legitimate
it's not.
business anymore.
No.
They haven't done anything, no, it's, trees have grown
The
up.
only other question I have for Scott, and sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind, but is the other house that has a fence, you can't see through it, can't see above it because it's street level, Smith?
Tammy Smith, it's on South Lake.
I don't know what's on the inside of it. I hate to have that built up and then we say, we got another junkyard?
Yeah. We'll have to have Ted take a look in there. I'll talk to him and see if he can run down there and see what's in there.
Jump that fence.
We're gonna buy a drone.
Yeah, put you on a show.
We do need.
Yeah,
We need a drone.
a drone could take a picture.
Yeah, there you go.
Google it.
Then, Richmond Deer, Storm Lake bought one of them, didn't
Did they?
they? Yeah, what from the, what is that from the, it was in the, some paper I read.
Oh, I guess I don't know.
They buy the salvage from the.
They can buy surplus stuff?
Surplus stuff.
surplus
And they bought
drones?
one of them,
Oh, God.
yeah.
Duck season opens up pretty soon, so I don't know.
So we need to get together, Aaron, and work on this before we do anything? Okay.
Just a real quick recap of what this was intended to do. And I'm on page 14 again. Just that this is saying, you know, if you have a junkyard and you don't conform to the code, it's considered a nuisance. That's how we would abate it, is through a nuisance. Okay? Next one gets into the requirements for a vehicle recycler. If you're gonna do any business there, you gotta meet 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the same requirements that are in the DOT requirements. You gotta meet those requirements in order to get a DOT permit, okay? And you need the same thing then to get a city permit. Prohibitions, that puts actually a number to it, again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's basically talking about 6 vehicles in a 12-month period. Again, this is the requirements from the state code. And they said you cannot do more than 6 vehicles during a 12-month period, whether that's just body parts, whether that's restoring, or whether that's actually just storing the vehicles. So that's the number, is 6. Okay, the bottom of the page says that a license is required. You got to have a vehicle recycler permit, whether you are a vehicle rebuilder, a used part dealer, or a vehicle salvager. If you're any of the above, you got to have a recycler's permit. Okay, then you apply, and we would actually use the same process as the state. The state requires that you apply for a permit every 2 years, costs $70 to apply. This would also say that they apply in the same cycle, basically the same, probably the same application because it's meeting the same criteria. And again, $70 for a 2-year cycle. And then you gotta always keep the license displayed on the property. So that's kind of where we went with this so far, but the issue again about what you want to do about immediate action on the salvage yard, and we'll continue to work with Aaron and the mayor and refine this.
No, I think we ought to talk to her first.
Yeah, we sure can.
I mean,
You certainly
I think we'll
can.
get a lot further that way.
It's worth a try. I don't think so.
No, I don't.
'Cause I
They
think-
are.
I-
Tried that.
I think they're
I
wanting
mean,
to do
she
something.
won't talk to you, but the rest of them won't agree with it.
That,
Yeah, but
she
she has
probably
the
will.
authority. She has the authority. She has the authority. Get it?
I,
It's
I'm
worth
thinking they
something
might,
more
yeah,
now
I'm
than
thinking they
it
might
is later.
thinking there's money there to be had.
No, hopefully it's worth something.
I think they should have looked at quite a few years ago.
But-
About a more.
So why don't you guys put that something together? Yes, if you feel comfortable, go down talking to her or whatever,
Go ahead.
and come back with a plan or put a date, you know, this, you gotta tell them that this is in front of the council, that we wanna get this moving and we wanna do it with their cooperation as much as possible, but something needs to be
Something's
done.
gonna happen one way or the other,
Right,
yeah.
yeah, and like I said, I'm not here to say threaten them, but this is probably an opportune time, and it's like, if she's the executor, she's got the say. She really does, so I would pursue it, but I would have a plan,
Ready
the
to go.
ordinance together, and
A date.
a line in the sand, and that's, we're gonna go on to the next process. You know, pick out a date, and we'll move to the next step, nothing's proceed at this date, and then see what
Because there
happens.
ain't nothing moved in or out of there for
She's not, and nobody's living
how
there.
many years, is it?
Right?
I don't think so.
True.
You did have a, kinda like a payloader deal with forks on it, I guess, lift them cars up and
It's still down there,
still down there.
Pauline's driveway area.
It's not gonna go away unless they
Won't go
want it to,
away.
or we
Yeah.
preserve it, so.
And we're not afraid to do that.
No, no, I just think, you know, maybe we just,
Well, you're welcome to try.
yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll work on that. We want to, we have to authorize the application for the Sac County Endowment Fund.
Yeah, if we would, please. Bad news of the night is that we were not awarded REAP funding. And it's kind of sad that we didn't make it to the portion of the list where you got to go down to hear the scoring. The other say, I'll tell you here. "35 applications and we're 28. 13 applications got chosen to go through the formal process of question and answer. And of the 13, 12 were trails projects. No, excuse me, 11 were trails projects. So that's kind of, I guess, where their focus is, which is fine. We've used their grant money twice. So anyway, we won't be getting REAP money for the bathhouse and storm shelter. We would intend to apply for Sac County endowment funds. I'd said $25,000, but depending on how much they're awarded for the county, we may even seek a little bit more than that, maybe 30. The most that's ever been awarded is $25,000, so I don't want to push it too far, but it may be 30 instead of 25.
So we have a motion to apply for the SCED fund.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Cleveland,
Yes.
Reese, Huss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Chloe, you timed that just right.
Really?
Yep,
Oh, perfect.
you're up.
Okay.
I hope everybody knows you.
Oh, I'll introduce myself. I'm Chloe Wallace. I'm the Executive Director at SAC Economic and Tourism Development. I'm originally from Sac City, but currently reside here in Lakeview. And today I'm here to talk about the Hometown Pride program from Keep Iowa Beautiful. Especially with growing up from around this area, I've seen changes in how stuff is either going downhill or going uphill, and good or bad. The Hometown Pride program overall focuses on community pride. It is grant money, but at the same time it also works to help build up a community, its leadership, and working towards just stronger goals in the future. So far, Pocahontas County, I've talked to their economic director over there, and they've been in this program for going on about 3 years now. They've seen a lot of success with it, not just money-wise, but also community-wise. Tom said that it's the best thing that they've ever done for the county, and he said that he's seen more leadership come forward and more community involvement come forward than ever before. So far, as of February, they applied for 60 grants and received 90% of them, so 55 grants total, equaling about $450,000 for the county overall. This is from, I know that they've done park stuff, street stuff, overall just not even in the communities but also in the rural development as well. So you can definitely work with your conservation. And he said the biggest thing is also that their youth, working with their youth, they've come forward. I know he said like even the sophomores, they started working with this Keep Iowa Beautiful program, and even as going into seniors, they're still going strong working with them. So I think that's a big thing for us too, is trying to get our kids involved with our communities and showing them like what a community can do leadership-wise. It focuses on growing development, and I think every community in the county can definitely gain something from this program. What would happen is we would have a coach come in from outside of the county, and he or she would work with about 6 or 8 individuals from the community and meet with them about once a month. And she would kind of go to each community and tell them what their strengths and weaknesses are, and through that kind of just work throughout the year, going and applying for grants and working with the community. Overall, the program costs about $80,000 a year, and $60,000 of that comes from Keep Iowa Beautiful, so the county would be in charge for $20,000. I talked with the supervisors, and they're definitely all for this, and I know SETD would definitely put in money as well. So any questions so far?
What dollar commitment would be on us?
We do not know as of right now. Hopefully we're having a meeting, a county meeting September 30th. It's a Tuesday at 7 p.m. at the building in Ball Lake, and anyone from the community can come. And Jerry from Keep Iowa Beautiful and Tom from Pocahontas County will both be there to talk about the success of the program and to answer any questions. Then I hope the supervisors kind of give us at least a rough estimate of what they're willing to put forward, and then we'll know.
So have you contacted any of the other cities here in Sac County? What kind of response have you had with them?
All been really positive. I think they're kind of just waiting to see who all really wants to be involved with it. I'm talking to Ball Lake, Sac, Odebolt, and you, and I'm planning on talking to the rest still. And so far it seemed very positive. And I feel like Shaler will kind of be on it for it too, since they do have a visioning. They went through a whole vision process, and now they're not really, they're waiting for that money to come forward, and I think this would kind of help them. And that's why they are seeing such good results with this program, is because they not only have the vision, but they'll be able to accomplish that vision and see it through, which a lot of times I talked with someone from Fremont County, and they said, you know, you go through the process of working up a whole vision how many times, but how many times do you actually see it through, or how long does it take to see it through all the way?
There is no downside. Correct?
Right.
I don't see anything bad. I think it's a good thing for us.
I could really see that it's very positive, and this is another one of those ways that the county, it just ends up working together, all the communities in the county, you know, they're responsible for their own thing, but it's kind of the whole notion that they still want to do their best, and kind of it's keeping up with the Joneses type of deal.
Right, and that's what
Yeah.
they say, is they go from county to county, each county visits kind of one another to see what each other's doing, but they each still have their own vision, which of course, I mean, that's what your town's there for, is to have its own vision, but, you know, I think this would be great for your downtown, for streets, you know, I mean, you're a great tourism community now, it's just, you know, working on, you know, even better. And
What day was that meeting in Wall Lake again?
Tuesday, September 30th.
You could send us out a reminder email, couldn't you?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna put something in the paper, and then I'm sending out postcards to certain groups too, like your community club. I'll be sending stuff to them as well. So.
This sound familiar at all? We had this as a program for Sac County League last fall. And Jerry Schneff came in and presented this. And he just came in, presented, and we really didn't talk about the program then afterwards. So I don't know that we really got a strong feeling from everybody what their initial feelings are. Then they had the next meeting in Odebolt, and I don't think any of us attended it. So I don't know whatever came of that, but
And they do a first impressions program too, so another town of your size would come in and you would go to their town too and kind of see what the strengths and weaknesses are overall.
send the mayor to another town.
Somebody go with me to watch me?
So, yeah, I mean, I think this is just, from what I talked to Tom for about an hour from Pocahontas County, and he just says that overall, I mean, he's seen a lot of good stuff.
This first meeting, then we'll get down to more specifics on.
Right, and I mean, whatever questions you have, Jerry will be there to answer them all, and Tom will be there to answer questions too, from a county perspective, and just telling you what's been going up with them. They're now in their third year, and I think still going pretty strong.
Was Tom Graw?
Yes, and he said he knew you.
Yes.
So he said if you were a problem, to
Yeah.
call you.
Yeah, he knows me.
So,
Tell him he was a problem.
okay.
Yeah, he'd say that. What kind of a commitment would you like from us tonight? Some sort of support?
I just really am trying to get the word out and hoping you guys, at least somewhat of a group, comes to the 30th meeting, just to kind of, you know, not get a no right away, you know, just to kind of see it through.
Anything positive is good for us.
That's on a Tuesday night, so it's good night.
So we have Sac County League meeting coming up next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday, the 10th.
Be just a good time to have bring this up as a little discussion item.
Right.
too,
Definitely. So,
so kind of get everybody's feeling, kind of get a stronger commitment from Sac County, you know, as far as what they would think too, because there is this financial component to it. It costs some money. Be nice to know what our share would end up being. But,
no, definitely.
you know, from Lakeview's perspective, I tell you, we've done a lot of this stuff. But I also would tell you that we can recharge our efforts, and sometimes it takes us a little kick in the shorts to get it going again. So this has some positive stuff for Lakeview.
I'm not hearing any negative.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing. We appreciate it.
Oh, good. we'll
Thank
see
you.
how it goes. And if you have any other questions for me, I know Scott has my contact info, and yeah.
So Chloe was with us, of course, last Thursday, we had the economic development folks come and tour our industries, and they were down to Hancock and then out to Vapco also, and then we did lunch with the Lake Project. I think everybody, that was all very well received. Lots of nice comments about any of the industries. What did I miss? Yeah, I know, we didn't invite you to lunch. I've heard that.
I brought that up, Lon, just so you know.
No, it was overall good.
Okay, thank you very
Yep,
much.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, before we go on to Ted, we didn't get Justin Stork here, but I'd like to get a feel for this snake thing. Everybody's read his letter. The way to change the ordinance, somebody would have to move it, second it, we'd have to vote on it. I think we ought to just leave it the way it is. We just don't need snakes in town. But it's entirely up to the council. That's the only way to change the ordinance. I talked to Dave today, and he's not in favor of snakes at all. Gus, I know you love them, but you do this, there's a prohibition on them for a reason.
No, I realize that, but I guess I look at other things too. I mean, I hate more rules and regulations than we already have. But what about the muskies in the lake?
Those belong to DNR, not the city. We don't care.
They're in the city limits.
Well, the only thing that, Joy has brought up, I thought some of the gals was gonna be here tonight, actually, they real upset about these snakes down by the playground and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They said it's just,
Some
You
people
know,
are
and we're
really
gonna-
afraid of snakes, and I
we spend all this money on that Pier 20, but, why do we wanna chase people away with a couple
Right.
big snakes hanging over your shoulder? I don't know if this is gonna be in the paper or not, I hope not. But that's way, that neighborhood up there
Right.
feels fun.
Right.
That's,
Well, you're the council. You're the only ones that can change it, because I told them that it was, I didn't find too many people interested in changing it. I think the snakes need to be out of town, and that's the end of it. Marcia,
Well, do they have them right now?
as far as I know, they do.
According to this, he's had it for 2 years.
We
for
didn't,
God's sake.
if they brought them out in public was evidently the thing you shouldn't have done, because we didn't know they had them. But now that we know,
He says he
What?
doesn't have them now.
But in this letter, he says he does.
When he sent the letter is the reason why this all happened. He sent a letter which what that did is notified the city, I have 2 snakes that I'm not supposed to have. That's why we went to his house and said, hey, now you've notified us not only verbally, but you've written us a letter saying you have 2 snakes against the city ordinance. Until the city ordinance is changed, they have to leave the city limits.
Well, and if
And so that's what he said, that he was gonna take them back to the snake handler or snake
Yeah,
rescue
rescue
guy got
guy.
them from. He's gonna keep them until the city allows them to come. It's no different than anything else. There's a lot of things here that people may have they're not supposed to have. And until we see them or until they go parading around town with them wrapped around their neck, you're not gonna see them. We didn't even know there was an ordinance to it. We caught them down, walking around down in right through the piers down full of people. And here they come walk through with great big snakes in their neck. So then we looked and said, well, there's an ordinance, you're not supposed to have it. So that's how it was brought up, because they brought them out in public.
But it started out, one was only, about 4 foot long, right?
Well, yeah, there was only one was seen first, and all of a sudden we find out.
It was a lot.
Until we got a letter, we didn't
Yeah.
know there was 2.
Then you got one that's
Yeah.
bigger than that.
Well, and if the ordinance were changed, that would mean we could have unlimited number of snakes in this town,
Yeah.
right?
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, everybody could have one.
we don't, we're not gonna do that. Jerry, where do you land on this?
My personal feeling is number one, just me, I do not like snakes for that long.
Right.
Amen.
I hate them, but I understand people have them. I know I read the letter a couple times, which took 20 minutes each time,
No kidding.
but,
It's a good letter.
but yeah, it was a good letter, but he also quoted, several things where, other animals cause more injuries and based on per capita. Well, yeah, per capita, because there's not that many people have snakes. But my personal feeling, and I've had several people come in the store to talk to me about it, and they're not in favor of it.
Not there.
And I do not, it's my personal feeling, do not feel that reptiles can be domesticated to the point of being a pet.
No.
They're, you just never know how they're gonna respond to anything. And I'm definitely not in favor of it. So, we got an ordinance against it, and I think that's where we ought to keep it.
So here's what we can do. Gus, you can move it. If you can get a second, good for you. Otherwise, it's a dead deal. It's done.
No,
We're not having them.
yeah, I thought
And they
they
always
was gonna
get-
make an ordinance against it, but
No, it's already there.
it's already there.
Yeah,
That's
we have an
fine.
ordinance.
The ordinance would have to be to let them bring them
Well,
into
that's
town.
Yeah.
another
Right.
thing.
Okay.
No,
you're not
I,
having
I'm not gonna make that.
it. Okay,
Wait till that snake gets loose.
yeah, that's good. Okay, Ted, let's do the police pay.
What do you mean?
They found me.
Have a
I
seat.
hate 'em.
See?
No.
I'm not in favor of it.
Seen a dancer with a snake once.
Yep.
That's why you like snakes, huh?
I got over the fear of snakes, so I said,
Some coffee.
Okay, Ted has perspective on our police,
Definitely would.
so we'll hear him out and,
And the recorder's on.
it's, see how we do.
Okay, I had put some numbers together, and what, as I said at the last council meeting, what I'm after is to try to get our police officer pay up to a rate to where we can start keeping officers like we have in the past. We've never had a problem with this before, and all of a sudden we're starting to have a problem because we have people that are too close to us that are willing to throw out a lot of extra money to take guys away once you certify them. I noticed there's some numbers in the back that Scott threw in. They did not come from me, and no, I do not agree with them. So I just wanted to point that out. What I do agree with, though, is Sac City's pays. Mark Jansma with Sac City makes $24.65 an hour. Brian Menser makes $23.16 an hour. Carlson, who is the last officer hired, makes $20.72 an hour. We have Michelle that makes $16.25 an hour. And we have Royce, who now is at the top pay, and with his longevity, he makes $20.04.
What was the top part of that?
Which one?
What was the top?
16,
No, you had 2072 for the bottom, what was the top?
24.65.
It's in the back right here.
Okay. This is SAC.
And so what I would like to see happen is I would like to start our new hire out at $18.74 an hour is what I'd like to start them at. And what I'm asking Michelle to be moved to is $19.94 an hour and Royce moved to 22. And I noticed with the union contract, they have these steps that they go through. None of the police department is union, none of them belong to the union. When it's time for union negotiations, they have no say, they're not at the meeting, and they have nothing to say unless they want to join the union. I'd really prefer that they don't, but it doesn't seem to be helping so far. But I just think it's time that we get these guys back to where they normally should be rather than way behind everybody else. Especially when we have the county offering to take them away from us and give them $6 an hour more to start for them.
So like new hire 18, how long would that be before they get, once a year they get raised?
Once they, actually what I had is the new hire at 1874. Once the new hire is certified, once they're certified, they go to 1994, the same as Michelle.
Okay.
Once they meet their 2-year probation, which means 2 years from the time that they're certified, not from the time they're hired. Once they meet their 2-year probation period, and now they're full-time with no probation, they go to the $22 an hour.
Can some of these wages be picked up with like more tickets?
Be more than happy to if that's what you want.
Well,
They
if
sure
they're doing
could.
something wrong, I think they ought to be ticketed for it.
Progress is promised. I can help you with that.
Well, I think that personally, you ought to pay for a share of it, you know. You see a lot of crap going on, I mean, all the time.
Then they can't be everywhere at once, but, I didn't know Dave was gonna be gone, but I'd like everybody to think about this, and I don't wanna do anything tonight, because I think Dave ought to be here to have a full council when we do something in the money like this. I think it's only right that he gets a shot. I don't think it's right if we just do it with 4. We've done in this in the past, at least this way it has a chance to hit the papers, everybody's gonna hear it, and you're gonna hear something. But I know we gotta pay them.
I know Ted doesn't like to hear this, but we can't make unilateral changes to the union, union agreement ourselves. You know.
Even though they don't belong to the union. I can't figure
Yeah,
that out.
and so, yeah, it's true, they don't belong to the union, but the positions, all 3 of the officers positioned are covered by the union, whether they choose to be a union member or not. And our union contract's just a 1-year deal. We'll get a notice from the union here in the next couple months that it's time to bargain again.
What I read on the union contract is that you have to notify them if you change that.
That you start them on the step, yeah.
Well, we're starting them on a step. In other words, we're letting the union know that we're not part of their union. They're not part of the union.
Just know when you raise these, you're gonna hear it from Public Works, you're gonna hear it from the electric guys. They're gonna wanna, and rightfully so, they're gonna ask for that. I just think you ought to be aware of that.
And the public works and electric guys are union, so they got somebody to fight for them. We don't.
Right. Yeah, the cops don't, so. And we're trying to get them, we'd rather deal with them in one big group instead of the other.
Well, I guess if you want to keep certifying them and send them to somebody else, you can leave it like it is. You're not going to keep them.
So how much, like, John, after he got certified, now he left, then how much of that does he have to reimburse the city?
Pays us for his training time.
For his, like,
It's
$9,000.
9,000 some dollars.
Okay.
The contract says if he would have stuck around for 1 year from the certification, it drops down to 50%, and then it's 0 after 2 years.
But we won't make that
But
mistake again.
he,
After 2 years.
He didn't quite make his 1 year, so he does still owe $9,000.
And he can pay that back.
We do have some
Back
provisions in the
payment
contract for installments, and it can be as low as $100 a month.
Helps to pay that back when you get a $6 an hour pay raise to start.
$100 a month?
Installments, yeah, plus some interest.
Well, so far, we've been able to recoup most of it.
We've recouped
It's
them.
only just got everybody's left. I mean, it has been a pretty good contract.
Yes.
And we have, I think, good employees. They were out the other night at 10 o'clock, whenever the hell I came uptown. They were out already, didn't have to be called. Public Works, Electric, they all do a really good job, I think.
I didn't realize I was negotiating for all of them, but I guess I am.
They can.
I'm your new union rep.
Well, we're gonna have fun.
See you guys in December.
There you go.
Is everybody comfortable waiting until the next council meeting when we have 5? Or do you want to do something now? It's entirely up to you, but I would just as soon wait till Dave was here.
Just the timing on recruitment is that applications are due on the 12th, and then what happens, chief? You know what the
Well,
timeline is?
once we get the applications, then we'll set a testing date, but
But if we have the latitude to say, here, we're actually going to start you up here, instead of at our bottom rate, we'll start you here, that would give us some latitude when we hire people, correct?
Sure. If we happen to
Council's
get
up with
a
that.
real good applicant, or ideally, somebody who's certified, yeah, you
So
can
no-
you start them on
so
a different
We wouldn't
part
start
of
them
the
at
scale.
16, we'd be starting them at like 18 or something, like they've already been here 2 years. That would give Ted some flexibility as, instead of starting at 1 year.
Decisions with money, really, if I was gone or Jerry was gone, then we don't make them kind of decisions.
Well, there's some things we've always waited until we had a full council for some things. I just think this is an important thing. It's not rare that we've waited for other things, so.
I don't think it hurts to wait another 2 weeks.
No, I don't.
No,
either.
2 weeks will hurt us, as long as we have some latitude.
I just want to
for the new hire.
understand that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if
We-
it takes $2 an hour
Scott,
more
can you
to
put
get
together some numbers?
some more
I
polls.
mean,
Yeah.
give us an idea what the impact is on the budget.
Sure.
I mean, average, what's Ted's talking about, based on the hours they work and everything.
I know Ted didn't put much credit in these numbers that were in your packet, but just a little explanation of them. That if the one's for non-unionized cities. That comes from the League of Cities, where they send out the notice to the city clerks. City clerks self-report what their wages are. Okay, so you don't know if they're reporting the middle of the range, the higher of the range. Yeah, you just,
Or drawing a number out of the air.
I definitely know they're not drawing a number out of the
Let
air.
me point two things out to you that I noticed. The most important thing, one, Sac City. Sac City, $21.81 an hour. Don't see anybody in Sac City making $21 an hour. Lakeview, Iowa, $19.55. I think Michelle makes $16.25. Them two numbers I don't think are correct.
Well, of course they are, Ted, because our top of range is what we were. The other thing is that it's from 13-14, it's from a year ago. These numbers were actually prepared when we were bargaining last time.
The only thing I
This
seen
says
in there,
$19.55 back in 2011, so we must have went backwards.
That's our contract date, Ted.
In other words, I don't believe the numbers.
Now, Ted, I ought to
Just stating my opinion,
I ought to
Paul.
take a little offense to that, because you're calling me a liar.
I'm just saying the numbers aren't right. They're not.
You're mistaken, Ted. They are correct. According to the top line, it says 13-14.
What top line is 13-14?
That's the years, 13-14. I told you they're a year old.
Yeah, still don't.
Well, I do know for a fact though that the numbers, you know, when I read it, my first thought and impression was whether the numbers are right or not. I do know that previous councils, their goal was to try and set our wages in the middle, not high, not low. And that was my first thought when I looked at that was, we're in the middle. You know, but if the numbers aren't right, I don't know where
I'm
we
just
are.
telling you, if you want to keep them, you're gonna have to pay them. If you don't, leave them like they are.
Well, I guess that's why we got that contract.
Yep.
You know,
well, I think, something I think we missed too was, we didn't include Wall Lake in our population.
Okay.
well, Wall Lake's being covered by Lakeview.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
so
what
it's
he's
not
saying.
1,300.
I see what you're saying.
Whitey, you're a negotiator, where are you at on this?
I think that there's a lot of, I'm just gonna talk from a business point of view, we've had to adjust our wages to, according to the different, out in the business world anyway, different areas, just like you're saying, Ted, there's different, cost of living, from cost of living to attractive candidates, so this is, I think it's gonna be one of them, we need to put some numbers together and find out what kind of budget we have. And then, I think we do need to improve it, I agree on that, but how much we improve it, we gotta see what the bottom line is gonna be in cost. Because it's taken, I tell you what, the labor pool out there for no matter what, in my world, truck drivers, it's a tough situation. We're finding more difficult people that don't wanna come to work in the warehouse, whether it's nights, days, or whatever. They offer different premiums for different things to get incentives. And that's just the way the whole business world's operating right now, so. Does this surprise me? No, is this out of range? No, I don't think so, but I'd like to see some hard numbers and put some, what the cost to the city would be. You know, there's two things you gotta understand. What they do every day is very important. We're in Lakeview, Iowa, I understand that. But if you want quality and having dedicated people, you're gonna pay for it. So it's that simple. Because the guys that are got the good jobs aren't looking. So, I mean, I'm not too surprised about this, but we gotta determine as how we wanna budget it out, what kind of money we're talking, and putting some serious numbers down. We can speculate all we want, who gets what where, we gotta see what's a fit for Lakeview. And that's up to you guys
We've just
to,
never had this problem before, but when you have a county that's willing to come into your town and say, we'll give you $5 or $6 an hour more if you come to us now that they certified you. Never had that problem before, now we do.
I'm not gonna, I'll play devil's advocate here too. Ted, I understand what you said, but also, how many more positions are gonna be opened up there in SAC? I mean, what, are they looking for more than one guy, or are they looking for, is there some guys retired out of there? You know what I'm saying? what, I don't want it to be a knee-jerk reaction just because one guy, we've lost 2 guys, I understand moving to different places, but finding out what is a happy number. I don't know what that is. And that's
I don't
something
even
we,
know if this is a happy number, this is mine, not theirs.
well, but I'm just
They
saying,
might still not be happy.
well, yeah, there's a lot of times that's not the whole thing, but
Yeah.
again, how you treat your people, how you divide the workload, how you know, make working together. Like I said, Lakeview is a very fortunate place because we don't have a whole lot of problems here, and that's part of our, not only for the city, but with our police department, what they do a good job with, you know what I'm saying? So again, we gotta take all that into consideration when it comes to this. So, is there a need for a raise? Yeah. It's just that we gotta come back with, and something that's responsible for us and the city. And I guess I'm looking for numbers that,
Well, we'll have Scott put them together next meeting, we'll know the impact on the budget, so everybody knows.
that's what I, that's what I want.
One thing I think the county is probably, they're probably done picking up towns, right?
Really?
Because they pretty much, no, I mean,
Well, they'd like to have Wall Lake.
They'd like
They'd
to
like to have
Wall
Wall Lake, they'd like to have
Oh.
Lakeview, they'd like to have Sac City.
okay, well, I mean, the ones they pretty well got all the rest of the county, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I guess Shaler's still got.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
they come and they lose them all the time. They're struggling. But at least if Scott has some numbers on these dollar values, if everybody's happy with them, at least we'll know what it's gonna do to the budget, whether we wanna, we gotta live within the budget.
Put something together.
We'll do that.
Then we gotta hash it out. I think the concept's right. It's just how we're gonna go about doing it.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Okay, sewer plant. That can't be good.
No, really, all we wanted to do was probably be feeding you a little bit of information about the project at a time. And this is just a couple of letters that we've been getting from our engineer. I just would like to go over with you so that, again, it's smaller amounts of information about the project every time and doesn't really inundate you. But here within the next 2 months, we will have that, the plant study done by Veenstra and Kemp. And they'll be here talking about that and coming up with a plan of action about what our next steps are gonna be. So this is just a couple things, dealing with kind of generalities about plant sizing and then also, a little bit about rates. Where it's talking about the future plant design capacities and whether we need to do this anti-degradation analysis. So the good news is that we likely would not have to do this anti-degradation analysis. And they talked through the sizing of the plants and compared it to what our historical flows have been. And generally, this meets most of the designs of what we would be looking at. Just on page 22, you just start at the top. They measure flow in a couple different ways. They measure flow as far as dry weather. You'll also see flows measured as far as wet weather, because of course the amount of groundwater going through there, amount of infiltration into the system is dramatic, and during wet weather, flows go up. Okay, average flow, average dry weather flow over the last 4.5 years is 0.176 million gallons per day. The plant is the design, it's designed for 0.275. The hydraulic loadings out there are meeting what the capacities would be. Wet weather flow, the design capacity is 0.35, and again, over the past 4.5 years, maximum monthly flow was 0.31. Now, as you read on, you see that there is days when the maximum wet weather daily flow exceeded the sizing of the plant. That's that item 3 there. The design for maximum wet weather is 0.7, and over the last 4.5 years, the maximum daily flow was 0.942. Now, I know Lon has a lot of concerns about these numbers, that when it starts to back up, you really lose any accuracy in your flow measurements. So we probably treated a lot more than that at some point. A BOD sizing is designed for 325 pounds And the average over the last 4.5 years is 196 pounds. And again, it's saying that that is based upon what the average would be. That's going to be pretty close to an average community. TKN is the Skelgel nitrogen, 60.3 pounds. And we've been testing recently, and ours comes back in the range of 20 to 25 pounds. So we're dramatically under what that, what the design would be. And that's that limit that we really tried to get rid of so that we wouldn't have to continue testing on it. But the DNR was not open to the idea of getting rid of that. So, in summary, it appears the facility plan will not require an anti-degradation analysis, which is a good thing. Anytime that you upsize the plant, you need to conduct this analysis to assure that you're not degrading the environment anymore. That is, you're not going to put out a product that is any worse than what you have right now. So. The only parameter which is close is, again, this maximum 30-day average wet weather flow. Okay. So that's just a little bit about sizing. So when you start to think about a project, think of something sized for flows and treatment similar to what we have right now. Now, you can't necessarily think that you're going to have a plant that looks like that, because the plant will look completely different. You know, it'll have some, not only different design, but also some different function in it, I'm sure. Page 24, then, is a very preliminary financial analysis. Okay, you can see the indented area there in the middle of the page where it's showing what the average monthly bills have happened over the past several years, where it's been at $16.36, worked its way up to $19.19, anticipated to be $21 per month as of this year. Okay. The next paragraph goes through this concept of billing units and that type of stuff. But what we really want to end up showing you is about the last two paragraphs on page 25, where the city's average user charge would be about $21 per month. It's below average for communities of our size. Average of communities similar to Lakeview is around $30 right now. So that would just be an average rate. Cities that have undertaken a major wastewater improvement project, it's fairly common that the average sewer charge is from $35 to $50 a month. Yeah. So that's kind of the punchline of this whole deal.
So that means $50 water, $50 sewer?
Nah, not necessarily.
No.
Because, you know, and we talked about this last time we raised rates. That was probably the last time that we raised rates where sewer would cost the same as water. Any increases in cost now would be more on sewer than what it would be on water. I kind of see that happening. But just as we continue to work through this process, Beanstrin Kim's working on this facility plan, and it will have some more financial information on it. And again, just I think it's kind of prepare yourself mentally for what you might be seeing, because the costs will be up high, and then the associated fees are pretty high then too.
The sewer out at Provost,
Mhm.
that sharp curve is,
Okay.
years ago, I was working for the Iowa State Conservation, and they had problems with that. They went up there and they tried to seal off all the leaks coming in from the field. There's a lot of water running through there now.
Yes. A tremendous amount of water running through there. And if you get to that go back to that paragraph 3 where we meet, the maximum wet flow, that's one of the reasons why, because it's just, there's nobody on that line and it's running 3/4 full when you get a big rain. And that's out in Hankey's field. That is huge for us, for as far as, the other night when Barry and I were out, and that goes over to Crescent Park Drive. Well, we just couldn't pump the water over there. Our light was on, the alarm was on all night long. And it's because all that infiltration's coming in, we just can't handle it. And there's actually a line that goes across from Gary Wickers, cuts across that field, takes it over to the other lift station and brings it down to Larry Hauser's, past TCT Trucking, then goes down to Larry's and we pump it the other direction. And that's running full too, you know. So we know we have a lot of infiltration. And if we had to do that anti-degradation plan,
Yeah.
that would be one of the things they would look at, I would think, that we'd have to line that sewer probably and take care of some infiltration problems there. You know, that would car flow down, I think, would you say 455
Today,
today, 450,000, wasn't
it was more than that, I think.
it? Yeah,
500,000.
yeah.
So when it's dry out then,
We've been running an average of about, geez, hardly anything, 130, 140,000 a day. We get this rain and we jump all the way to 500,000.
so then anyway, the last couple of years, probably the flow was.
Oh
way
yeah,
down.
our flow's been way low the last few
Right.
years, but when we get a big rain like we had the other night, you know, it shows up instantly. I mean, water was going over the bypass today, you know, this morning when we were down there checking things out, and I haven't ever seen it go over that for quite a while, you know.
By, had a lot of water.
But that's something, you know, we could look at, you know, and another thing that isn't being brought up, you know, if they dredge this lake, they may want us to move that pipe, and then you're looking at another probably $1 million project. You know, and I mean, it's kinda like Scott said, I think we need to start preparing the public, cause there isn't much we can do about it. You know, when the EPA comes in and says you've gotta meet these guidelines, there isn't much we can do. This TKN, it's ridiculous that we have to test for it. I mean, we don't even come close to the limits. But we tried to get it, no, they won't, we gotta keep testing for it. And I think you're gonna see a lot more testing coming on. Phosphorus is gonna be a big one, the way it sounds from Mangold. He said within the next 5 years, we'll be testing for that too. So, you know, the costs are just gonna continue to go up. I mean, it's sad, but what do we do? You know, I don't know that there's anything we can do unless you're,
With that line out there, maybe it's diluting a lot of that stuff, so it's not getting us.
no, you gotta take into account what it's costing you to pump all that water too, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a cost-saving measure to think about lining that, but
How would you line up? That's cement tile all the way through there.
no, it's clay tile.
Is it clay?
Yeah, I think that was put in, well, Jack put it in there, and they said they had a heck of a time putting it in there. That when they were pulling the box, you could see the joints pulling apart. They just kept going, you know, so,
Yeah, I know, when I put a camera up there, you could see it squirting in from the sides. And
yeah.
they had a machine that would spray around it, but I'm sure it didn't hold.
Well, the manhole would be, they're into like the 5th generation now of lining. They just keep coming up with newer and newer methods and better methods. You know, you fix one problem, then it comes in someplace else because the ground table goes up because the water can't get away. So you really need to look at lining the manholes, everything. And one thing about out there's no sewer taps. So that's a positive for us, that we don't have to have problems with water coming in at sewer taps. It's just gonna be the joints. But, I mean, we went to a school on it here not too long ago, and they're getting better at it all the time. I mean, they can go up into a residential line now and line that one too now.
Even with water coming in, they can do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. We actually had this done, you know, up on 8th Street.
8th Street, yep.
8th
Yep.
Street, and that seems to be working. I mean, we've had pretty good success with it so far. At least we haven't had any backups up there anyway, so. But I don't think it helped all of our infiltration problems, because we didn't really go with we went with like 2nd generation up there. But it's still, that wasn't our purpose of doing that line. The purpose was to keep it from backing up on the public, so.
Okay, good information, all expensive. Just will keep going, Lon, director report.
Well, the primary was broke down, of course, the other day, and, we got that up and running. Kinda jerry-rigged her up, and we think we can get another 3 or 4 years out of her now.
Is that where the chain was off, or?
Yeah, the chain had come off in the primary, and, I don't know, I hate to tell you how we fixed it, but we actually, it's fiberglass slats, and it had a busted one in there, and we actually just took a treated board, and they're a U-channel, and we laid that board in back there, bolted it in, and now it's riding on the rail system, so seems to be working. That's all we can do is just, if it breaks, we'll fix it again, I guess. It's a nasty job, let me tell you. Nasty. The sewer out on Rhodeyville, we're gonna start working on that tomorrow. That, we have the break in there. We actually had Pete Howe come down, tried to televise it, and we couldn't get enough water out of that line to, the camera goes underwater and you can't see. But we did televise the gravity flow. And we started at Beth Hatches and went up to, well, I always say Rhodeyville, but what is the street, Scott?
Harbor Drive.
Harbor Drive, yeah. And, that line looks great, other than there's low spots where the camera goes underwater, but we never had an issue with that. There's no roots or anything in that sewer. It's a nice looking sewer. We were hoping that would be the problem, but it ain't. It's the pressure main. So we'll start working on that at 9:30 tomorrow. We're gonna meet with Wall Lake Telephone and start working on it, Corn Belt.
Dick?
Other than, we
No.
got the streets pretty well cleaned up, and from the storm, we got a lot of trees to pick up in the parks and stuff, yeah.
Good job going out the other night.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys were out before I even got down there.
I told my wife when it started raining that hard, I said, it ain't gonna be 10 minutes, and we're gonna be having to go out. Comm center called about 2 minutes after I said that. They had a tree down, so. But we ended up with 5 trees down there.
Good job, appreciate it.
Thanks, Lon.
Yep.
Okay, city clerk administrator report.
It's just a couple of, the mayor had asked that we take a look at this again. The front side is Roger's house. Back side is that Swain house. So this is one of Roger Peterson's down on, excuse me, down on Vine Street.
That's looking bad.
And we had given him notice a while back. And he, well, they put the metal roofing on the porch. And that was basically it. Nothing else has happened. Need to talk with them again and gauge what the heck they're going to do, or else it's another formal nuisance procedure.
Do we have anything that we could say that this is uninhabitable house? Is there such an ordinance we could come up with?
You know, they're tough, but if there's water coming in, if there's, and I believe I talked to one of the tenants at least a year ago, and he complained quite often to Roger. There was water coming in down the wall, and he just did nothing. So, if there's water coming in, or if there's a hole, where critters can come in,
Then we can do something.
yeah.
Really doesn't enhance it when you leave that trailer sitting out
No,
there in the
no.
front yard either.
He's had every chance to do it. Now it's time for,
The city, took the opportunity to talk to him about this. When he came to the city and asked, can I make my lots smaller out there? And I'll never forget that. Because there were some of us who didn't want that because we know what he hasn't done in keeping his places nice. He always promises, but
well, just so the council knows, we were gonna work on this. Ted has a way of visiting with people.
Diesel diplomacy, right?
Yep.
Backside is Swain's house. Mayor had talked with Corey Weber about that, and this was gonna get tore down, and nothing has happened, so. We'll be having some more actions on that one then too.
Unless anybody's opposed to that, we're gonna continue to work on these and see what we can do.
Neighbors are really starting to complain about that one.
What's that?
Where's the house at?
Oh, do you know where Ewell lives down here? It's kind of
It's
across
on-
the road from Bob Mansfield.
It's on Vine Street, south,
Oh,
further south block
Yeah,
of
keep
Vine
going,
Street.
Vine
Oh,
Street.
further south,
Yeah.
down by
Across from Randall.
Ulrich?
Yeah,
Yep,
right
across
across the
from
road, yeah.
Oh.
Well, Corey said he was gonna have Wirtz knock it down, and Wirtz was in town a week ago, and Wirtz didn't stop there. He
Yeah.
kept going, so. So we're gonna,
would've been a good opportunity.
it would've been,
Who
yeah.
owns
Remind
that?
Corey that,
I haven't seen him since that, but,
well, I mean, when Wirtz was in.
no, because I couldn't find him when Wirtz is in town.
Who owns it?
I think I have
Corey
a
Weber.
son of it.
Corey Weber owns that?
Yeah, and he owns the Schwarzkopf, and he told us he was gonna knock Swain's down. He was gonna fix up Schwarzkopf, and nothing's happened, so.
He's parking trucks up there.
Yeah, well, we're gonna park something there pretty soon.
Have another junkyard going there pretty quick.
No, no, we're gonna get rid of all of it.
Our stuff's on, for sale on bigiron.com now, and the sale date's the 24th of September. Just Sac County League starts up again. Starts next Wednesday, September 10th. And this will be up at Sac County Cattle Company next Wednesday. Now you're out of town in the middle of the week now, aren't you?
I'll be in Denver.
We need a head count?
Yep, I would need a head count for,
September what, 10th?
yep, next Wednesday.
That's right. I'll be there.
Me too.
I will, I'm sure. We will.
What else is going on the 10th?
I don't know.
It's the day before, never mind, I'll tell you later.
But I also got notice today about the Northwest Iowa League meeting. Templeton hosts the Northwest Iowa League meeting, and that's actually the next day on September 11th. But it would be a very interesting meeting because they're having the meeting at that new Templeton Community Center. If you've heard anything that they've done with that old
Church.
It's been a
church
boom.
school, yeah,
They've got it pretty nice, yep.
and
I haven't seen
that would
it,
be
but
interesting to see.
My sister was talking about it Saturday.
I'll be going to Northwest Iowa League.
Oh, yeah. I need to find out what's happening with golf.
Oh,
Are we still golfing on the 11th or not?
well, I'll go anyway.
I think it was a fun night or something.
That's good, 'cause I don't ever have any fun golfing.
Where's that at? I don't go.
Country club.
Spring Lake.
I'm gonna miss.
You don't have to golf.
Kids bought me golf clubs 30 years ago and they've never been out of the bag.
Really?
Oh,
And well, they wanted me to start and I just never had time.
is that all we got?
That's it.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Meeting adjourned.
Who had a second?
Nobody.
It's over. They were out the door.